Mental health treatment in the 1970s was more prison than hospital, and I've got a chilling story that shows exactly why these institutions needed to change.
Those old psychiatric hospitals were such complex places. What happened in this particular case?
Picture this. Early 1970s England, a nurse walking down one of those endless institutional corridors. The floors are polished to a mirror shine, harsh fluorescent lights beating down, and she's carefully preparing a syringe with some cloudy medication, probably one of those heavy tranquilizers they used back then.
You know what's fascinating about that era? Studies show that by 1975, over 70% of psychiatric patients were receiving some form of major tranquilizer.
Well, that's exactly what makes this story so relevant. It starts with these routine medication rounds, but there are these subtle warning signs. The nurse passes this younger patient with long hair getting an injection, looking absolutely defeated while this stern doctor stands over him.
Hmm. That power dynamic was so typical of institutional psychiatry then. How did things escalate from there?
So she turns down this dimmer side corridor, like literally crossing into the shadow side of psychiatric care, heading toward room 12. And here's where it gets interesting. She stops at this door with a spy hole, something you'd expect in a prison, not a hospital.
That's exactly what strikes me about these places. They couldn't decide if they were medical facilities or detention centres.
Right. And when she looks through that spy hole, there's just a bed with someone completely covered by this grey blanket lying perfectly still. The room is practically bare, more cell than patient room, with barred windows partially hidden by a short curtain.
The architectural design of these places was so intentional. Studies from that era show how they used environmental features like high windows and long corridors to reinforce control.
Well, that control was about to break down spectacularly. The nurse makes this fatal mistake. She turns her back to adjust the curtain, leaving that loaded syringe unattended. And that supposedly unconscious patient. Not so unconscious after all.
Oh no, I can see where this is heading.
The patient grabs the syringe, manages to inject the nurse, and she goes down during the struggle. But it doesn't end there. A security guard gets attacked shortly after, and when an orderly finally reaches room 12, he finds something so shocking we're not even told what it is.
You know, records show that attacks on psychiatric staff increased by nearly 40% during the early 1970s, right when institutions were starting to reduce their reliance on physical restraints.
That's such a crucial point. These places were caught in this impossible transition. They were trying to move away from the old asylum model, but they hadn't yet developed better alternatives.
The whole system was fundamentally flawed, wasn't it? They were using medication as a form of chemical restraint while still maintaining these prison-like environments.
And look at how this story captures that contradiction. You've got medical equipment like syringes being used as weapons, and hospital rooms that double as cells. It's like every detail reinforces this clash between treatment and containment.
The lasting impact of these institutions is still felt today. Many modern mental health facilities are specifically designed to avoid these institutional features.
That's what makes this story so relevant. It shows exactly why reform was necessary. But here's the thing that really gets me. We never find out what happened in room 12. It's like all those untold stories from these institutions, the ones that drove change but remained hidden.
Well, that uncertainty reflects a larger truth about psychiatric care in that era. So much went undocumented, unreported.
You know what's really striking? This could have happened in any psychiatric hospital in the early 70s. These places all shared the same features. The medication trolleys, the spy holes, the barred windows. It was like they were working from the same flawed blueprint.
And that blueprint has thankfully been completely redesigned. Modern psychiatric facilities focus on creating healing environments rather than containing patients.
Though I have to say, while we've come a long way from spy holes and prison-like wards, this story reminds us why we can never go back to that model of institutional care. It's a powerful warning from our not-so-distant past.